Have you ever parked in a huge car park and then come out to think, where the heck's my car? And you know that split second when you're panicking. Multiply that by 24/7.
As time goes by, it gets harder and harder and harder.
And she went quite berserk. She went absolutely berserk. It was horrendous. She started banging her head on the table and literally pulling her hair out.
I don't want to be anybody else. I want to be me for as long as possible.
To watch someone succumbing to Alzheimer's, I think, is one of the most painful things to witness, because you just see them being erased in front of your eyes. They're like getting fainter and fainter and fainter.
How would I describe it? Pain in the arse?
Because we was just so very equal when we were first together, and that balance has had to tip.
I've lost track now.
Dementia describes crippling disorders that trigger a loss in various different brain functions. These conditions are usually progressive and eventually severe, with the current number of sufferers at 750,000 in the UK alone. 1 in 3 people over 65 will die with dementia. Even worse, early-onset dementia can destroy lives before they've fully begun, with 16,000 people under 65 in the UK suffering from some form of the disease.
Talking about people that can be in the 40s, in the 50s, as well as sort of 60 to 65. Quite often they are people who are at work, whose jobs are now at risk because of the dementia. We're talking about loss of income. We can be talking about people with children still going through university. We've even supported families who have children at secondary education. So the needs and what they require is very different to the elderly population.
Low funding into expensive research and government cuts to local authority budgets means programmes like those run by the Alzheimer's Society are closing their doors to everyone who isn't in a critical state.
They will have to self-fund if they can self-fund, or they will have to find other services. We will not have block contracts to offer them a service.
So if they can't self-fund themselves?
There will be no service available.
So where would they get any care?
I don't know. They can't, I think is probably is the answer to that.
Budget cuts is nothing new, of course. We've had budget cuts since I can ever remember. But there was a hope with the dementia strategy that there was going to be money with it, and that was the initial statement, that there would be money with it. It's looking very different now, obviously. My worry is that people tend to see dementia differently. Particularly the powers that be, and that there could easily be a move that it's only a matter of social care, it's not a health need, and of course that has funding implications. The emphasis now on big society is on people helping themselves and communities helping each other. You can do that to a certain extent, but it's not going to help you with dementia care all the way through their journeys.
Stockport, Manchester is the home of the Educate programme, aiming to give people with dementia a voice through sharing their experiences. Early onset isn't just about memory loss, it can kick up a whole host of other problems.
She'll be looking for something and it can be right in front of her and she can't see it, and yet it's there.
I can't use a watch at all.
I mean, it's really the loss of confidence, and sort of is the sort of the other thing, that never quite sure that I've forgotten something.
I can't use the telephone.
She would lose her jewellery in the house, and it might take you 12 months to find them because she had some good hiding places. But
I can't handle money. That's gone. Numbers have gone completely. It doesn't like me being in the house on my own. I did set fire to the kitchen, but that's beside the point.
Well, there's that, I think, is a C or a K.
Nicola's husband Steve was only 53 when he was diagnosed with early onset dementia. Now 5 years later, she's made the heartbreaking step of moving him into a home.
You guess what the end road might be, and I know people who have beds downstairs in their homes and things for people who can't move anymore, and he was way away from that. He was still walking and going out and about with friends. But the anxiety he was suffering, and I basically couldn't help him with, throughout a 24-hour period of the day, it just wasn't sustainable, and I thought, he needs more input. The weekend before he went, just this constant state of anxiety and crying. He would be upset quite a lot, and I just couldn't help him. I just felt so helpless.
Hazel's older sister began to show signs that something was wrong after she twice flooded her bathroom. Before 8 years of caring for her, Hazel and her husband had to make that first and possibly hardest step.
Barry said to me, "They can't go on like this." And I said, "No, I know, but what can we do?" And bearing in mind it was all my family. And he said, "There's only one thing we really can do." He said, "They will have to come and live with us." I said, "Are you sure about this?" I said, "Do you know what you're saying and what that involves and what it will entail?" He said, "Yes, I have thought about it." He said, "It means we'll have to sell our house, sell their flat, and buy somewhere where we can all live together." It's very much like living with a small child, only complete reverse. Instead of the child getting better every day, doing more and more for itself, it's the other way around. And then she burst out crying and she said, "I can't stand this anymore." She said, I've had enough. She said, "I just don't feel like a person anymore." She said, "I want you to kill me." She said, "You must do something, kill me." She said, "I don't care how you do it, kill me." What can you do in those circumstances? I sat down with her, I gave her a cuddle, she was crying, and I tried to comfort her, and I said, "Look," I said, "I know how difficult this is, but," I said, "you're not alone. We're all here, we're all helping you."
I'm Peter Dunlop. I have dementia.
Obstetrician and gynaecologist Peter Dunlop knew there was a problem when he was having memory lapses at work. Given the choice, he decided to remove himself as a licensed doctor as soon as he was diagnosed.
The confidence is sort of much lower, and sort of was worrying about things much more. And my specialty was high-risk specialty as well. And the last thing I wanted to do was do something wrong with for one of my patients. I'm still driving. I enjoy my fly fishing and quite happy to get on and do that sort of thing. But silly things I will, or even important things, I will forget unless I'm very careful.
I have dementia. I also have a life.
While there may be no cure on the horizon, both sufferers and their carers are painfully aware of what they may have to face up to as the end approaches.
She's quite accepted it that, eventually she might have to go into a nursing home.
But I wouldn't be able to say.
Oh no, no.
Basically, you just get on with it. There isn't a cure, so I think we all know what's coming in the end.
I wish it to happen, because the stage he's got to now, he hasn't got any quality of life. He doesn't want to be where he is. I didn't want to put him there. So the best thing that can happen is that he's released from it all.
I don't think she had quality of life for the last 2 years. And the last 2 years of her life I found excruciatingly painful every time I visited her. I really did, because she was like a husk with nothing left inside. And that is so difficult, especially knowing how she had been when young. And it was just very sad, because she was just lying there, sort of, her breathing was quite rasping, and you just knew she was on the way out. And there was nothing you could really do.
Up it went in flames.